go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Masters Fantasy Show, brought to you by MastersFantasyFootballLeagues.com. Joining us today, the Doc, Dynasty Owl. I'm the Commish. We're the Masters crew. What's up, guys? How you doing today?
Doing great.
Yep, doing excellent.
Good to hear. One of my favorite topics today, Dynasty football, the running back position. Taking a look at some running backs we think could be a good pickup to go trade for your guys' stretch runs for contending teams. I'll kick this over to you guys, whichever way you want to go first. What running back are you going after on your contending teams?
Yes, I can kick us off here. I got one. I don't want to say he's been a polarizing name in the fantasy community over the past few years, but I feel like, when he was drafted, he's a guy going top 3 in our rookie drafts a few years ago, had a lot of hype. Then he was, kind of got the bust label pretty quick. Then last year, all of a sudden rebounded super strong, finished the year, I think, as a top 3 back. And then this year, a little banged up, and that's David Montgomery. So yeah, obviously he missed some time this year, but, when healthy at the beginning of the year, he was playing pretty well. And then it was nice to see, even though Khalil Herbert kind of showed out well during his absence, he came back this week, had a, major workload, all that's back. On top of that, I like that Justin Fields is finally looking like he's coming along. I think the offense is just starting to click all together. Even Allen Robinson got a little involved in their last game. So I think, all these things are good for David Montgomery. The offense is going to, get close to the end zone, more red zone trips. Montgomery is, that guy. I know Fields can take away a couple of rushing touchdowns here and there, but I also think he can freeze linebackers a little bit. So I think he's going to have a similar finish to the finish he had a year ago, which was, this red hot finish. I mean, the Commish, you were riding him high in a couple leagues I remember last year. So, and on top of that, I think enough of us in the Dynasty community are still unsure about his long-term potential, or is he a true franchise type back? I don't know. I think he's definitely an above average back, but I think he's obtainable in Dynasty. And yeah, he's a guy who could help you win you a league this year.
Yeah, and when you was talking about how good he did down the stretch last year, that's money. He was money down the stretch, man. And it's weird because he's one of them guys, even hearing you talk now, like no matter what this guy's done, there's still just doubts about him. And I don't really know what that's about.
Yeah.
But it still exists today. And I think even a little bit more now, with what Khalil Herbert was able to just do. Now guys are looking, there's competition. Like whatever reason we could get to knock this guy down a little bit, we've all taken the opportunity to do. I think that's exactly what's happened. I mean, but I do think that now's a good time to go get him while Khalil Herbert's still fresh on a lot of people's minds.
For sure. Yep.
Absolutely. I like that.
Right. All right. Kick it over to you, Doc. What running back are you targeting down the stretch this season of fantasy on your contending teams?
So again, I'm going to go with a guy that, is a good value to me now and has good dynasty value going forward, but can also, in my opinion, win you a league this year. And that's Javonte Williams. I think we see it more and more every week. He's starting to get more and more of a snap share and eat into Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon fumbling is becoming an issue again for him. So I think we're going to start seeing that explosion from Javonte Williams. I know he had a touchdown called back yesterday. So I think he's just teetering on the edge of exploding onto the scene here. And I think once that happens, his value is going to be through the roof. So I really do think now is kind of the time to buy. Just find someone who's been impatient, pick on the fact that he hasn't really done a whole lot yet, maybe a good game here and there, but overall just kind of consistently average. Find someone that's impatient, scoop Javonte Williams, reap the benefits down the stretch, and enjoy a stud running back going forward. Now, the only thing is he's probably going to be a little pricey,
for sure,
most likely, just because he is so young and has so much kind of hype going into this season. But I still do think he'll be relatively affordable for where I think he'll be by the end of this season.
Right, and that's interesting. I think it's a great take. I do think down the stretch, we're going to see more and more Javonte Williams. But it's funny because my guy that, one of the guys I was actually considering using was going to be Melvin Gordon, his counterpart. And part of my thinking was we all know Javonte's coming. So, Melvin Gordon, a guy that, I have some teams on that I've just overlooked him basically all season.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, yet there's plenty of weeks that he's produced. So I actually do love the Javonte take. I'm gonna
Mhm.
throw Melvin Gordon in the mix on that though, because I do think most of us are ready to get rid of him. I mean, Curry's got a touchdown in 3 of his last 3 games, double digit in 5. Looks like his last 5 games. I'll add this too. Here's another guy that everybody just assumes like he's retiring and sailing off. You know, we'll never see him again next year. You know, that I mean, maybe not in Denver. We'll see how that goes. Melvin
Right.
Gordon, 28 years old. But I'm
Yeah.
saying he could still go have another top 15, 20 years somewhere, possibly.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been solid this year, to a frustrating level for the people that have owned Javonte from the start. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing I could say bad about him. He has had the fumbles pop up again, but yeah, he's produced. He gets touchdowns week in and week out. But I do think every Broncos game I've watched, Javonte does seem to pop a little bit more. And I do think, I do believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I do think I saw yesterday was his highest snap share of the season. So he is kind of trending in that direction anyways. But I do agree, Melvin Gordon's still going to get work, and he's going to be dirt cheap for all the reasons you
That's
said.
what I'm
Yeah,
thinking. I mean,
absolutely.
And I listen, out of the 2, so we're just gonna add the the Denver backfield we think you guys should go get. And out of the 2, if you can afford Javonte, I say go for it. If you're trading on a budget, don't want to give up too much, might want to take a look at Melvin Gordon. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah. And honestly, too, I take the other North Carolina running back, Michael Carter. I know I've talked about him a little bit, but he's another guy that I feel like his value is way lower than it should be. And he can help you make a push down the stretch, too. The dude's been really, really good the last few weeks. And I don't think Tevin Coleman coming back is going to put anything bad on that.
Perfect. Okay. And then Dynasty Owl, you already did yours, right? It's on me.
Yeah.
I just added Melvin Gordon. So I'm just going to hit you with the question on mine.
Yeah.
Down the stretch, because here was the guy I was going to go with. Down the stretch, would you rather have Melvin Gordon, or here's a guy I'm thinking about tossing in there too? Toss that out there. Can you see
What's funny, that was
Nice.
so who did I go with? I'm already forget. Oh, I went with Montgomery. So Kareem Hunt was my other guy that I was really debating on doing. Obviously everybody knows he's nursing that calf injury. Little unclear when he's going to be back, which is kind of why I held off, but that's also why I think you could get him, cheaper than you would if he was healthy. So, because I think he's going to have a strong finish to the year. And on top of that, just looking in what the future holds, there's a chance he's a, starting running back somewhere else in a year or so. So I think both short and long-term Kareem Hunt's a really good buy candidate.
Absolutely. I think he was leading the Browns in receptions before he got hurt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And based on what we've seen from the Browns yesterday, I got to believe he's going to get a lot of work in the receiving game. So that's a genius call there, Commish. Yeah. I love it.
I'm going to tell you 2 reasons to go get Kareem Hunt. The first one, Baker stinks, man, and that's not going to change by the end of the season. Basically the rest of the way they should give Hunt 20, Chubb 20 carries, and let's roll. And number 2, guy was like top 6, top 7 before the injury went down. Go back and look for yourself. There was a time he was looking like the number 1 in Cleveland, really close. So down the stretch, Kareem Hunt, I think he's a great pickup, guys. So
yeah, also just from a straight fantasy perspective, even when Nick Chubb was dominant, I mean their fantasy numbers were like super close. I mean you're just getting a discount, great fantasy back.
Yeah, people did that last year too. Mm-hmm. Kept discounting him, and he was a top 11 running back last year too. So I mean, this is how things work now in Cleveland. These both guys are going to eat.
He's like the Jarvis Landry of running backs back when Jarvis Landry and Baker Mayfield knew who each other was.
Yeah.
What I'm saying? If that makes sense. So.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this edition of Dynasty Running Backs for contending teams you might want to pick up going down the stretch. As always, thanks so much for watching. If you could hit the like and subscribe button. Any last words, guys?
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, folks.